Alright guys, welcome back to Dig It RC. I know several of you have asked for more detail on my Bushwhacker implement, so I thought I'd give you those details. Of course, it's very basic. On the back I just made my mount for the loader. Basically just a square piece of 12 by 12, about 1/8 inch. And I did use just an 80 turn motor on it. With the 80 turn you get more torque, lower RPM. I was after lower RPM and definitely wanted more torque. So for brush motor, that's about the best you're going to do. You go with a 55 turn and go with some gear reduction, gain the same things. I just had this motor sitting around. I went ahead and I'm sticking with the ESC just for some motor protection. If it gets bogged down and stuff, this ESC will cut out that, or if you're going to go direct to the battery, you'd want to put a fusible link in here, so if it does get bogged down to a certain point, it'll trip instead of just burning things up. So I use this for my speed control, and with this thing I was just turning it all the way up and it worked fantastic. So as far as the blades go, this is probably the most difficult portion of making this thing. So of course I mounted my motor direct to the plate with 4 screws, and it does only have the 1/8 inch shaft. I did tap another hole back here on this gear, but my buddy welded this gear onto just this plain plate steel, just some flat stock, and then I had to take and balance this out. And so you do that by laying it on a rod or something like that. You want to balance it left and right, and you also want to balance it, if your center point's right here, you want to balance it laterally this way. So balance is the most critical thing. That probably took the longest, is getting this thing all balanced out. And after I got it close to balanced, where sitting it on a round rod, it was hard to tell if there was one side that was heavier or the other. Then I took and mounted it to the motor and ran the motor and checked for smoothness, and it was a little rough at first, and then I just continued sanding just a little bit at a time. I mean, just the weight of a postage stamp on one side will throw it way off. So I just got that all balanced out, and then I threw these blades on with just some 1/4 inch screws and nuts on it. And those are just Phillips head stainless steel. I got the idea for this from yet another RC channel, I believe it is. He's got a 3D printed basic form of this, but he used these kind of blades. That's where I got the idea to use those blades. He used, I think they were Ryobi brand. I just found these on Amazon. It's knockoff of the Ryobi brand, but they work great. So I can replace my blades if they break. And then the gear I just used a hardened steel 48 pitch gear I had sitting around, and that's what my buddy welded on there. He had to use a special rod to add the metal in there on that weld to get a good bond, but he did an excellent job on that for me. And I might have him do another one later on. I might upgrade this. We'll see how this works under continual use conditions, and if needs be, if I need to go bigger shaft or something, I might change the motor out and just go with a new blade. But the concept works really good. So I don't know if you guys want any more details. I don't think there's much else to show you. It's super simple. I just did a 2-inch metal on here, so that gives me about 1.5 inches, even if I'm all the way down. to where if I plant this on the ground, I'm not gonna dig into the ground with my blades. And so that's it. Hope you guys enjoy this little overview of how I did it and what was all involved in getting that put together. So please like and subscribe, and click that notification bell for the next video.